What's going on, everyone? All right, trade recap time. It is Wednesday, June the 4th, and had a good day today. June's shaping out to be good, but it's only a couple days into the month, right? So we just have to keep chugging along and see how the month comes about and, just stick with it. So let's dive right into this and let's get going. As I mentioned last time on the last trade recap, I'm doing these a little bit different, and I think it's going to be a little bit more efficient and be able to get us through these quicker and just highlight the important pieces and what we need to see. So here we are on the weekly chart. All right, we're still this fair value gap right here on the weekly. You see, last week, we did reach up and traded all the way through it to the high right there. That created that fair value gap, okay? And then we closed down. So this week, we opened down here, right? If you know the open, high, low, close, it's going to be our open right there. And then we made a little low right here. And then we're going up. So if I was to guess where price is going based on the weekly, obviously we're looking bullish, but we have the high right here. So I would believe we're likely to take that high. That would be I don't think we're going to trade inside this previous week. So, we'll see here. We'll see what we look like. All right, and then if you notice, look at the bar here. Measure out the midpoint of this bar of the last week. Look where we went to. We reached right down to the midpoint of the bar. You see that? We reached down right here, exactly the midpoint. We've been going up. So I think we're going to expand. Now, one thing we have to think about. What do we have this week? This is Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, right? So what do we have on Friday? NFP. This is NFP week. So typically, the day before NFP, Thursdays can have some price action that's really not favorable. So I don't trade Thursday. I won't be trading tomorrow on Thursday. I don't trade the day before NFP. And, it's never served me well. Probably, I would say, out of 10 times, 2 or 3 tries on that day before NFP actually is good, and I would get a good trade. So because of that data that I have, I just don't trade it. It can present something, but most of the time for me, it's not even worth it. So I don't even open my charts on that day. So if we're still inside here, this area, tomorrow, I believe we'll stay inside this range, would be my guess. All right. We have this high is here as well. But I would imagine we stay inside here. One of two things will happen. Because if you look at the power of 3, right? What happens on the candles? You have an open, then you have a low, if price is bullish, a low, and then you have a high, right? And then your close. So if we know this is true, then this week, tomorrow's Thursday, so after the midpoint of the week, at some point, if this is going to be a bullish candle, which I'm pretty sure it will be, at some point, it has to make its high, right? And then come down and close somewhere. So where is that going to be? Well, is this going to be the high that we already made here? And then, NFP brings price down and closes somewhere? Or Are we going to go ahead and take last week's high at some point and then come down and close somewhere? So that's kind of what I would be looking at. And then you have to drop down to lower time frames to maybe get that answer. So that's what I'm looking at. And the cause for this hesitation here, in my opinion, is this weekly fair value gap. So that's what I wanted to point out. All right, so let's go to the daily chart now. So the daily chart, and I pointed this out the other day, yesterday, we have this fair value gap here. And then we have this fair value gap here. Right? So if we have those two, look what price is doing. It's really struggling around that midpoint of this fair value gap. But on this day, Wednesday, we closed bullish. We took that high. Here was the open, low, high, close. So now the following day for Thursday, which this is the evening, right? So the futures market is open right now. You have the open. We've already went down. We've already went down here. So do we expand higher and take this wick, which was also last week's high right here? On top of that, this level, this area right here is also last month's high. So this is a nice pool of liquidity in that area. So what I believe is going to happen, because we're still bullish, now we have this daily fair value gap. We have this daily volume imbalance, right? Look back here. This low couldn't reach this low. I believe what I would think is going to happen, just by looking at the current price action, that we're likely to take this high. Last week's high, last month's high, all that. We may see a nice sweep of this and then close lower at some point for the week, right? So does this, what I would be looking at is, does this happen on Thursday? I forgot an R. Does that happen on Thursday or does that happen on Friday? Which day is that going to happen? That's my bias. That's what I'd be looking for. So since I'm not trading Thursday, when I come in on Friday to trade, I'm going to look right here at this level and ask myself, have we taken that or have we not? If we've not taken that, more than likely that's going to be my target, my objective for Friday. However, if we already have taken that, then, like, let's say Thursday looks, let's say Thursday looks like this. Thursday looks like that, right? Then, let's say we open here somewhere Friday. What I would be looking for basically is price to take this here and then trade down and close down for the week. Look for a sweep here of the previous day high and then close down. I don't think we just keep going. Now, it is possible though. It is possible if Thursday closes or trades above that high in here, and then it opens, it is possible that it sweeps this high right here and hits this higher fair value gap and then comes down and closes. That's possible as well. So from there, I have to have an idea of my framework, like what I'm looking for a couple things to happen on the higher time frame, because like I said, we still have this fair value gap. Like there's reasons price could go down. We have, fair value gaps down and even further back, lower, down lower, way lower. But that doesn't mean price has to go all the way down there. So We could see it hit this fair value gap and then come back down, use this one as an inversion, possibly, or come back down into this fair value gap right here. This volume bounce, trade in this area, and then continue up. But that's too far into the future. I really am not concerned about that. My main thing is, do we take this high? And if we do, then do we take the next Thursday's high? Sweep that here. And after we sweep this, is there reason to go up and tag this fair value gap? And then I'd be looking for a short. Or after we sweep it here, do I get enough to look for a short somewhere? So more than likely, if we took this high, I'll be looking for a short Friday. If we have not, then I'll be looking for a long Friday. That's kind of what I'm looking for going into Friday on the higher time frame. All right. So that was for today when I was looking at this, like, okay, we're looking bullish. Here's previous day high. So let me mark this previous day high right here. Now I'm looking for, I'm talking specifically about today's trade, what I was looking at, and previous day high. So we had that here. All right. And then let's go down to first. Let me do this. Let me go back to the morning and go to my bar replay. All right, there we go. I have my bar replay. So now let's go to the 4-hour chart. So we were at the daily, now we're at the 4-hour. So here's what I'm looking at. Do we have any 4-hour, any bullish fair value gaps? Yes. I have this one here. Okay, so immediately, because price was here, this is the time, right? So I have this 4-hour fair value gap. Do I have any bearish fair value gaps above me that we just came from? No. We have this big one right here, but we've already traded through that. So now I don't have anything directly above that would inhibit price from continuing up. So like I'm looking at this like, okay, we could either trade back down to this 4-hour. We have yesterday's high. If it sweeps that, we could trade back down here and then go up, or it doesn't have to do that. But there's nothing preventing price from going higher, is what I'm basically looking at. All I have is a lower, a bullish fair value gap down lower below the marketplace. That's what I'm just looking for. Is there any highs? Yes, there's a high up here on the 4-hour. This is the current bar that I was on. It took that high. It took these lows. So, okay. And there was news in the morning, right? So then I'm going to drop down to the 1-hour. I kind of look at the same thing here. Is there anything immediate? Because I don't take trades all day, right? Like I don't swing trade. I just need something like, what's immediate? Well, we have this fair value gap on the 1-hour, right? So it's kind of, below the marketplace here. We have this big one here that's overlapping with this 4-hour. So, okay, cool. Now, is there anything directly above where price is? Because price was right here, 749.50. Is there anything up here? No. But we do have this one here that we're trading right into, right here. And if you can see, look at the midpoint of it. We're wicking through that, wicking through that, wicking through that. And then this last bar up runs way up here and comes down and closes. So now I'm like, okay, so I'm looking left, and all this like sell side down here, this minor sell side in here, this wick took all that. And it went into this 1-hour fair value gap. So I'm like, okay. Gap here. Let me mark it 1-hour. So now I'm looking, because here's price. There's not much. We're inside this 1-hour. So I'm kind of like, all right, let's see. We took previous day high. Maybe we do have a pullback before continuing up. Let's see. Then I go to the 15-minute. And this is just my tool that shows the session highs and lows. So right now, what I'm looking at is the 15-minute chart. Now what I want to notice is, let's see here. Have we taken London and Asian session highs and lows? Well, if you look, here's the London low, Asian low. This right here took that. Okay. And then back here, London high took that here. Asian high took that here. So yeah, so price already took all the previous session lows. I mean lows and highs. Except for, it did leave the previous afternoon session low down here right above that 4-hour fair value gap. So this is where I'm thinking if we do come down, well, we may hit that. We took previous day high right here. If we have a reason to come down, maybe it goes into this area before continuing up. So we'll see what happens. But then also on the 15-minute, I'm not seeing any true relative equal highs or relative equal lows. Like I said, this one up here took any to the left, anything to the left, up into previous day high. Okay, there's not anything to the left. Down here, took all this to the left as well. You can argue from this low to this low, maybe relative equal lows. Each one are session lows. This is the afternoon session low. Big 15-minute fair value gap right here. And then you have the pre-market low right here. So I do like to see pre-market highs and lows too, because in the time where you have previous sessions like London and Asia session, where it's taken all those, well, then you can look and see if you have anything there with pre-market. All right. So from here, I want to mark the 15-minute fair value gap. Now, let me tell you one thing here. My trade setup on the 1 minute, I gave that an A+. My framework, my trade based on framework. Oops. I have to give that a B. And I'll tell you why here. My theory was that if we trade up into this 15-minute fair value gap, because at this point, what I'm looking at is I think price is bullish overall. I think overall we're bullish. However, you could see it manipulate or, go down first, right? So I'm thinking if this holds, maybe we run down here and then we run up to be bullish overall. However, if this 15-minute gap comes up and gets inverted, becomes an inversion, then what could happen is this session high, pre-market session high, get taken, and then it come back in, hold in the upper portion of the inversion, and then remain bullish. So I was really watching this 15-minute fair value gap to see what happened. And my thought process was, all right, if we reject here or close somewhere inside this, then basically we're going down. If we invert it and we hold here, we're going up, and then I'll look for a long. And if we go up, my long would be up here. This is where that last week high was and last month's high, right up here at the top of this shaded area. So I was looking, if we invert this, then I might look for a setup to go long through there. If we don't invert it, then I'll look and potentially, like what I really want to do is, if we don't invert it, let price draw down here and then look for a long setup up. So that was kind of what I was looking for. And there was just a setup on the 1 minute that was so nice that it looked really nice. And we did have news at 10 a.m., but it looked really nice. And I kind of just like forgot, or not forgot, but didn't really mind my framework as much. That what I was thinking, that logic with, here, let me get rid of this shaded area. That logic with the 15-minute gap here, I kind of just like didn't think about it because it looked so good on the 1 minute. And when I was in the trade on the 1 minute, I was kind of like, oh man, I don't know about this one. So let's go down to that 1 minute and show you what I was talking about. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that so we can see better. All right. So we did have an opening range gap as well. So let me mark that. Here, let's fast forward a little bit. There was that opening range gap. So we had the open right there, the close there, opening range gap. Okay. So we have that opening range gap. So we're going to go forward, go forward, go forward, go forward. Okay. So we opened and we're just, we're going back up again above previous day high again. And we're going. Now, before I go further, let's see, what time is this? Let me get to 9:45 first. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's where I wanted to be. Let me back up. Okay. So here we are. What happened with this bar right here? This bar closed, and now this is an inversion. So what did I just say I was thinking? Okay. Now we may pull back into this, maybe even right here or whatever. If we stay in the upper half, then I would look for a market structure shift and a reason to go long. Because like I said, I think it's going to go way up there to last week's high. So that's what I should have been looking for. If it accumulates there. Like I said, if it didn't invert this, then I would have been looking for it to go down. We also have the opening range gap down here. So, likely to fill that gap by 10 o'clock. But we inverted that. We had an inversion. So now I'm like, well, let's see. But then this happened. Look at this. We shot up here. We came back down right here. Immediately had this inversion. So this took previous day high, went above these little minor liquidity levels, did this price action, which if you look at it, we have a high, low, higher high, lower low. That's going to be a breaker right here. It's going to be a breaker. We have this inversion, and then we also have this fair value gap here. And I'm like, man, we're back inside underneath the previous day high with all this going on here. Yeah, we had that 1 hour fair value gap here, but it hasn't been 1 hour yet. So it can still close within that 1 hour fair value gap and push it down. Plus, we have the opening range gap below. So I'm kind of like, man, this is too juicy. This is too sweet right here. We're likely to come down. That was my thinking. And, but that went against my framework. And that's what I mean by this trade. I felt like it was an A+ setup, but based on my framework, I should have waited till it, reached down and then got it. But it's all good. It worked out. So as we can see, pulled up. I went short there. Then we did have that 10 a.m. news. But look what happened. It kind of pulled back pretty far. But then if you look at this bar right here, this could be a rejection block because this bar reached all the way up and then closed down here. So if you measure out the wick right here, hit the bottom of it right there, and it had a nice reaction with some displacement. Came back down, created another fair value gap. That's where I wanted to add in. But we had news that was coming out really soon at this point, within 5 minutes. So I was like, I don't want to add in because I don't think I'm going to get out of this trade. And, if I don't get out of it before the news, it could wick up and take me out. Or, things can happen during the news that it shouldn't. But ultimately, it came down and I won. But let's go ahead and jump right into my trade. That way you see the video of my trade. versus me just continuing to walk you through it. So here we go. We have this inversion. We're about to get this. I think I'll wait for this to close. No, I saw that inversion and I saw us tap right into it. And then I was like, yeah, I'm getting in. Stop right at the high here. My target, I put it right here. There's a midnight opening price as well. I put it right above the low of the opening range gap. You know, a little bit of a internal range liquidity down here, minor sell side. So let's walk through it. Fast forward. We're getting a little bit of, taking a little heat on it, but it's okay. There's a reason why I have my stop up here, because if I'm wrong, that's where I want to get out. And actually, I didn't even realize it was a breaker until I was in the trade, and I was like, oh, it's a breaker as well. So that's even more confirmation why I need to stay in and don't worry about it. This is where we're shooting down here. See, I marked it a breaker. Shooting down, and let's get to... This is where I wanted to add in, but I'm like, I can't. I want it to take this low first. I want it to reach back up into this fair value gap right here that it created. And then basically respect it, take this low, and I'll add in. That way I can move my stop pretty much close to break even at that point. Never got the chance because we got close to that 10 a.m. news. I'm just going to keep fast forwarding here a little bit until we get close to that news. Because if you didn't see what happened with that news today, so see, it's respecting, and all right, so it's respecting, and I'm like, man, I want to add in, but that news, the news was high impact news. So I was a little bit worried about that because I don't really like to be sitting in a trade during high impact news, but it is what it is. I have my stop at a good spot. About 37 points, respectable. My target was like 73 points or so. So a nice, what's that? A 2-to-1 roughly. I don't know. Watch what happens with the news in 30 seconds. This was pretty crazy. I'm just going to let this one run here. If you look on the bottom right, down here, you'll see the clock. Watch what happens here. Here's the news. Did you see it? There you go. This was insane. It gapped down and took me out perfectly. Hold on. Let me rewind this. Because watch what happens when this gets down, when this hits 10 a.m., watch right here on my ticks. You'll see it jump to like almost 200 ticks instantly without the chart moving. Watch. Here it goes. Right here. Watch it. Look at that. 197. 190. It's just crazy. It went so fast. It didn't even calculate it correct. Because if you look, like it calculated it correct, but I'm just saying right there on that area, because I was in, my entry is 755.50, got out at 682, 73 and a half points. That's 294 ticks. The most I ever saw right there said 197. So, yeah. But anyways, that's my trade. That's my framework for it. And I like this format better too on these trade recaps. And I am 10 minutes over my 20 minutes that I want to be. I spent a little more time in the beginning with the weekly and daily and kind of what I'm looking for the rest of the week. So I'm going to condense that. I promise. I'm going to make it work here soon. Okay. So anyways, that's my trade. I won't be trading Thursday. I will see you guys Friday if I take a trade. So be careful. Be careful tomorrow in NFP. All right. Have a great day. And as always, trade well, everybody. Take care.